Wow, I haven't been able to stop laughing, man. After reviewing the interview with Kenny Cupcake, Bomer, and Shabir Ally, I have discovered another huge mistake that Kenny Cupcake made. In this interview, I'm about to show you where Kenny Bomer admits that Allah broke a promise, and Shabir Ally confirms it. This is hilarious, people. I mean, this guy can't make enough mistakes, man. He brings on Shabir Ally to, uplift his show. He brings on the top Muslim debater, the top Muslim scholar who's known as, one of their top, Shabir Ally. But little did he know, in this interview, it backfires on him, as we are about to show you. Kenny Bomer says one thing, and Shabir Ally refutes what Kenny Bomer says on the same interview. So you got to keep your antennas up when even Muslims speak to each other. You have to keep your antennas up because they don't even agree with each other most of the time. And you'll find out that if you ask 100 Muslims about the same topic, you will get 100 different answers. So this whole thing is a circus show, and we're about to show you how Kenny Bomer, he gets himself busted. That's why the Bible say you are snared by the words of your mouth. So without further ado, let's hit play.
Been close. And
yeah, it's mind-boggling that
It's mind-boggling. That's classic right there. It's mind-boggling. No, we about to show you what's mind-boggling, Kenny. Just wait.
It seems to be, no offense to anyone, I mean, obviously, but it seems just to be a desperate attempt to try to find something wrong with the Quran. But by the wisdom of Allah, I mean, like I mentioned, it's July 7th, 2020, and we're talking about the preservation of the Quran that has been promised by Allah. Not only by the text, but the recitation. And I think sometimes people...
Okay, did you hear it? He made the admittance. He said, it's July the 7th, 2020, and we are sitting here talking about the preservation of the Quran that is promised by Allah, not only in recitation, but also in text. And just to, clarify it even further, let's play it again. So you can hear exactly what he says, and then we are going to play where Shabir Ally refutes what Kenny just said, which proves, we didn't have to prove it, which proves by the words of Kenny and by the words of his Allah that his religion is false because Allah did not keep his promise. Therefore, it's no way Islam can be a true religion, and there's no way that the fake prophet Muhammad can be a real prophet. So let's hear what Kenny says again.
Nowhere even close. And
it's mind-boggling that it's
mind-boggling.
It seems to be, no offense to anyone, I mean, obviously, but it seems just to be a desperate attempt to try to find something wrong with the Quran. But by the wisdom of Allah, I mean, like I mentioned, it's July 7th, 2020, and we're talking about the preservation of the Quran that has been promised by Allah. Not only by the text, but the recitation. And
you heard him? He can't take it back. It's recorded. It's on YouTube. He can't lie about it. He said it. He said the preservation of the Quran was promised by Allah, not only through recitation, but also through text. So after this video is uploaded, Kenny Bomer, he's going to have to either leave Islam because Allah broke his promise. He has to repent and apologize to everybody for spreading these lies, or he will have to continue to live a lie and go back on his own words that he's just stated. And that means we can no longer trust anything that he says, because you heard it loud and clear. He said that, let's play it again, and this will be the last time, and then we're gonna move forward after this. Yo, we got to drill them. We can't let these Muslims get away. We have to stay on their head. Let's play this one more time. Because maybe we misheard it, you know? Maybe we misheard something. Let's see if we misheard something. Maybe I need to clear my earwax out. Let's give them one more time.
There are other important ones as well, whereas nothing comes as close to that in the Quran. Nowhere even close.
It's mind-boggling that it seems to be, no offense to anyone, I mean obviously, but it seems just to be a desperate attempt to try to find something wrong with the Quran. But by the wisdom of Allah, I mean, like I mentioned, it's July 7th, 2020, and we're talking about the preservation of the Quran that has been promised by Allah. Not only by the text, but the recitation. And I think sometimes people...
You hear it? For the final time. And not only was it promised by Allah, the recitation, not only was the preservation promised by Allah, not only by recitation, but also by text. Like Kenny said. And he said, by the wisdom of Allah. So after we show him that the Quran was not preserved by text, and also is not preserved by recitation, because no Muslim can recite the Quranic verses on stoning for adultery that's mentioned in the Hadith. Where is the Quranic verses on stoning? Can Kenny Bomer recite these verses? No, he can't. So that means the Quran has not been preserved in recitation or by text. So he said by the wisdom of Allah. So that means Allah's wisdom is no good. It's not trustworthy. So now we are about to show you where Shabir Ally, the person he brings on, refutes what he just said. So let's fast forward. I think it's like at the 109 mark. Let's start. We'll start right here.
They have a misunderstanding of the Quran. Maybe these missionaries do not realize that this is a misunderstanding of the Quran that the Muslims in general have, but they're gonna prey on that misunderstanding. So the misunderstanding that Muslims in general have, Brother Kenny, and we've all been subjected to this because, at some point or another, we have been told the Quran is totally perfect as we have it now, dot for dot, letter for letter, everything is in place, preserved as it was. So that at one time, even I thought that the Tashkent manuscript and the Topkapi Serai manuscript of the Quran, that these codexes are exactly as we have it now.
Boom. Shabir Ally even admitted it. He's dropping the bomb right now. Look at the face on Kenny Bomer. Shabir Ally just said, even at one time, I thought that these manuscripts, these such and such, were perfectly preserved. That's basically what he's saying. At one time, even I thought it. But what did Kenny Bomer just say? That Allah promised not only the recitation, but also the text. Boom. Busted. Cupcake.
Because that's what we have been told. And we didn't have the acumen to investigate all of this.
You see? That's what we've been told. So Shabir Ally, and he just said we didn't have the acumen to investigate all of this. So Shabir Ally is admitting that he was even lied to by the Muslim scholars of his community. And he said because they didn't have the acumen, they didn't have the internet, they didn't have the resources during those times like we have today in 2020. They telling on themselves. Sometimes you just got to sit back and let people talk. Because the more someone speaks, just like Muhammad, the more speaking you do, the more you reveal about yourself. That's why I'm able to find so many contradictions in the Quran and in the Hadiths. Because when a person lies, like Muhammad did, you end up forgetting the lies that you told. So you end up contradicting yourself. So as you see, Shabir Ally, they squilling on themselves. He's basically telling you that he was lied to, and he was also under the same assumption. Now look, you see the silly face that Kenny Bomer has? He got that blank face. He's sitting there in his mind saying, geez, Shabir, you just messing up what I said. Wow.
But it's a later investigation, and sometimes through the work of missionaries, they have pointed out to us that no, it is not so. Like the Tashkent copy is not a complete copy of the Quran. Neither is the top copy Serai, and in any case, they don't correspond precisely 100% to what we are reciting today, because there could be a mistake here, a mistake there, and so on in those old copies. Now, so they're using that information to befuddle the average Muslim. It's only on further investigation that we realize, we don't really say as a matter of faith that I believe in the Tashkent copy of the Quran. Like, that's not.
He's admitting it. He's not denying the allegations. Therefore, they are not allegations. It's factual that there are errors in the Muslim copies like the Cupcake and the other copies that he mentioned. He is admitting it. But let's keep letting him hang himself.
Muslim article of faith. When I say Amantu billahi wa malaikati wa kutubihi, I believe in God and his angels and his messengers and his books. We don't say we believe in the one that is in Tashkent or the one that is in top copy Rai Museum.
Now you heard Kenny. Now, to get out of what Muslims have always been saying, Shabir Ally, he just said that he too believed that the text was preserved. He said, I was under that same assumption as well. Then missionaries came and they pointed it out. And then to get away from what we busted him on, he had to say, oh, we don't hold that as an article of faith. And then you see Kenny Bomer saying, right. When he was saying we don't hold it as an article of faith, Kenny Bomer, he's going, right. But how can you say right, Kenny Bomer, when you just admitted that Allah promised the preservation of the Quran, not only by recitation, but also through text? So what are you going right for? You see how these Muslims do? What does the Bible say? It says that an unstable man is unstable in all of his ways. So Kenny Bomer was just saying that Allah promised something about the preservation of the Quran in both recitation and text. So if that's not an article of your faith, if the promises of your God that you admitted to, Kenny Bomer, is not an article of your faith, then what is? What is? If God's promises is not what you stand upon, then what is an article of faith? If the promises of your God is not what you stand upon, then what is an article of faith if not the promises of your God? That doesn't even make sense. And did you hear what Shabir Ally was saying? It's not one of the articles of our faith. How can the preservation of the Quran not be an article of faith when your faith comes from the guarantee that the very Quran that you believe in is preserved? That doesn't even make sense. Y'all see what's taking place here? But let's continue to let them hang themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
So we believe in the books of God, including the Quran. But now this question, what exactly is the Quran? And we would say the Quran is that which has been.
Yeah, what exactly is the Quran? Let's rewind it back a little bit.
Here, a mistake there, and so on in those old copies. Now, so they're using that information to befuddle the average Muslim. It's only on further investigation that we realize, we don't really say as a matter of faith that.
Hold on. He said that we are using that information to befuddle as if, see, we are the elders in this thing. Your Quran says that if you are in doubt about anything, to go to the people who had the book before you. So we have the right to befuddle you because we are the ones who are showing you, like your Quran say, if you are in doubt, you're supposed to come to us. So we're letting you know that your book is not preserved. So no one is trying to befuddle you. We are actually showing you. We are supposed to spread the light and spread the gospel. And the truth is supposed to expose the lies. One of Kenny Bomer's favorite slogans is truth makes clear from error. That's one of the things he always say. So when we are trying to make clear from error, you say that we are trying to befuddle you. No, we are showing you that your texts are not preserved down to the letter and a single dot like you have always been saying. Now, since we have exposed you, you want to get away from that. Oh, yes, we see exactly what you're doing.
I believe in the Tashkent copy of the Quran. Like, that's not a Muslim article of faith. When I say amantu billahi wa malaikati wa kutubihi, I believe in God and his angels and his messengers and his books. We don't say we believe in the.
You see how he's making a fool of himself? He said that one of the articles of faith is not the preservation of the text. We've already proved how that don't make sense. Then he's saying that they say that their articles of faith is we believe in the angels, we believe in Allah, and we believe in his books. That's the articles of faith. But how can you separate the two? You say you believe in the books, but we have shown you that the books are not preserved and that there are mistakes. So how is that not one of your articles of faith? What else do you have to go by to check to see if your recitation is correct if you're not going by the books? You don't have the original Uthmanic text to substantiate your present day recitations. And we have shown you that the books that you do have are flawed. They have errors. So what Shabir Ally is saying doesn't make sense. Jeez.
One that is in Tashkent or the one that is in Tufts Museum.
Right.
And so we believe in the books of God, including the Quran. But now this question, what exactly is the Quran? And we would.
He said, we believe in the books of God, which is the Quran, but we just showed you that your books are not preserved. You don't have the recitations preserved. You don't have the recitation of stoning. So what do you have? So that's why he said, what is the Quran?
Say the Quran is that which has been revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, on whom be peace, and is now recited by Muslims in 10 ways, which are referred to as 10 qira'at, and that's our belief. We believe in this as the Quran is the word of God. We don't really believe in a particular manuscript. So if it shows that an old manuscript has a variant or has a mistake, this is nothing new, because in the ancient world, this is natural. And when you say equal scales.
He just dropped the bomb. So when it shows that an older manuscript has a variant or mistake, this is nothing new. You saying it's nothing new now, but before You was telling us that you was under the same assumption. But now, since it's gotten exposed, now you are saying it's nothing new. But we were telling you this all along. All along. Muslims were saying, this is what the Muslims been saying. The Quran has been preserved down to the single dot and letter. How many of y'all have heard them say that? Let's be honest. That's all they've been saying. The Quran is preserved down to the single dot and letter. The Quran is preserved down to the single dot and letter. Now they trying to get away from it. Look at that face on Kenny Bomer. He looked like a kid who had his hand in a cookie jar and he got caught by his mother. Now, the very man you bring on your show gets you busted. The very man you look up to, he gets you busted, Cupcake. This is classic, man.
Kenny, what they're ignoring is that if they look at their manuscripts.
This is classic. Let's play that one more time and we're going to end this video. This is classic, man.
Or another, we have been told the Quran is totally perfect as we have it now, dot for dot, letter for letter, everything is in place, preserved as it was. So that at one time, even I thought that the Tashkent manuscript and the Topkapi Serai manuscript of the Quran, that these codexes are exactly as we have it now, because that's what we have been told, and we didn't have the acumen to investigate all of this. But it's a later investigation, and sometimes through the work of missionaries, they have pointed out to us that no, it is not so. Like the Tashkent copy is not a complete copy of the Quran, neither is the Topkapi Serai. And in any case, they don't correspond exactly, precisely 100% to what we are reciting today, because there could be a mistake here, a mistake there, and so on in those old copies.
You heard them say it. They don't match up to 100% what they are reciting today. It's over with. Busted, Cupcake. But Kenny, I'm going to give you a reward for getting yourself busted. You know what I'm going to do, Kenny? I'm going to order you up a dozen cupcakes. What type you like? You like vanilla frosting cupcakes? You like strawberry frosted cupcakes, Kenny, with sprinkles on them? What you tell me, you let me know in the comment section, Kenny. We know you watching our videos. You let us know. And you know what, Kenny? Some of my subscribers, what you need to do, leave us your address, your mailing address, and we'll send you cupcakes, Kenny, for embarrassing yourself. Man.
Now, so they're using that information to befuddle the average Muslim. It's only on further investigation that we realize, yeah, we don't really say as a matter of faith that I believe in the Tashkent copy of the Quran. Like, that's not a Muslim article of faith. When I say amantu billahi wa malaikati wa kutubihi, I believe in God and his angels and his messengers and his books.
There you have it. Contradicting himself, getting himself busted. We don't believe that these copies, the preservation of these copies, is an article of our faith. Then he tells you the articles of their faith, believing in the oneness of God, believing in the angels, and believing in the books. Believing in the books, but the books are showing you that they're not preserved. But yet the preservation of the Quran is not one of the articles of your faith. Man, this is a circus. If y'all don't see this, I don't know. Y'all need to go to the optometrist, get your eyes checked. If you can't hear this, you need to go to the ear doctor. But Kenny, we are not asleep, man. Everybody is awake to what's going on. I want y'all to leave me your comments below this video. Spread these videos. Subscribe to the channel. Like the channel, because the more likes and the more subscribers we have, the more this message can get out. Kenny Bomer, you have been busted. You made a fool of yourself again. You proved that Allah did not keep his promise. Everybody heard it. Everybody heard Shabir Ally refute you. Everybody heard him say that he was lied to. So how can we trust this religion when Shabir Ally just admitted that he was lied to by his scholars, just like y'all lie to us? So y'all lie to each other, but you expect us to believe you. You got to channel consider this TV. So you want us to consider becoming Muslims, but Shabir Ally just admitted that his own scholars lied to him and had him under the belief that the Quran has been preserved down to the single dot and letter, like you all have always been saying. Now, don't try to get away from it now. Too late. Too late. Goodbye, Cupcake.